Hey guys, what's up? So, we all know what happened Saturday night. Didn't make a video because it was so late and I was disappointed. Not only, because what happened in Pacquiao's shoulder and Pacquiao's performance, but disappointed just in the fight as well. It obviously didn't live up to the hype, but like I said, it's you can't, obviously you can blame Floyd for that, but Floyd always fights like that, and Manny was gonna make it the fight to live up to the hype, but then he couldn't make it live up to the hype because of his shoulder, so he wasn't his Pac-Man self because of his shoulder. But anyway, for me now, you can't even put this in the top 5, or even maybe not even the top 10 fights of all time, let alone fight of the century, because for it to be a fight of the century, it would have to be something like a Hagler Hearns, something like Ali Frazier, but the fight wasn't. The fight was obviously it was boring. So you can't say it was in the top 5, even top 10 fight of all time, really. But anyway, a lot of stuff went on. But so who did I have winning the fight? When I was watching it, I had Mayweather winning the fight, and just because I had Mayweather win the fight doesn't mean I wasn't super impressed with Mayweather. I was more disappointed in Pacquiao for how he's performing, but that's because I didn't know what was actually going on behind the scenes with his shoulder. And when you look at it, I was kind of, when I seen stuff let's go back in training camp, they were saying Manny Pacquiao was 100% confident he was going to win, but that's because he thought he was going to get the numbing agent, the numbing shot in his shoulder, in his right shoulder actually, it was a painkiller numbing so he could throw the right hook with power and a power jab. But they wouldn't allow it, even though they filled out the paperwork, and it's legal. It's not a steroid, it is legal in Las Vegas. They filled out the paperwork 2 weeks early. They said he could do it, and then right before the fight, they wouldn't let him take it, because you have to take it right before the fight because it only lasts up to 6 hours. So but anyway, but when you kind of look at the training camp, it's not really an excuse though, obviously, because at the post conference the information was already leaked out. Pacquiao wasn't the one who said it. People were asking about the short, so they knew about it. It was leaked out weeks before, and know why I know he was leaked out weeks before? Go check Fight Hype. There's tons of explanations why it was leaked out, because these are my facts that I got together why it was leaked out and why people knew about the shoulder. Look at Fight Hype, who's close with Mayweather, the boxing media channel, or news outlet, whatever you call it. Fight Hype, who's pro Mayweather, but they even said before the fight, Pacquiao's training camp has been leaked out down to how many rounds he sparred and how many times he went to the bathroom. That's how much was leaked out of the camp. And we all know Freddie Roach caught a spy in the camp, so that adds up with what Fight Hype was saying, and they had to kick him out. He was a spy in the camp. And notice how Manny Pacquiao didn't have that good of sparring partners in the camp. Not only that though, Not that the sparring partners weren't good, but notice how they didn't really talk about Manny Pacquiao sparring. They never really mentioned it that much. And that was a sign that it didn't sound good to me. Like, I didn't think anything of it because everyone was saying, oh, it's all good, like they're supposed to, because they want to promote the fight. They're not going to say it's bad. Like, right? They're always going to say they're 100% everything's going well. It's to promote the fight, right? But notice how they weren't talking about sparring very much in the Pacquiao camp. You didn't really hear much about it. And just every time sparring was brought up, it was very pushed aside very quickly, or the answers were not very good. And if you look at other camps when they talk about sparring, like the last one, when Manny Pacquiao was sparring Victor Postal and Stan Martinook and what's that other guy, Mike Jones, they were getting into detail talking about the sparring, saying it was going great, saying that Manny Pacquiao broke Victor Postal's nose. That's what you want to hear. But you didn't hear any of that. You didn't hear barely anything about sparring. And not only that, I did a video, and it was out a couple weeks ago, that Manny Pacquiao was sparring, or was training a whole session just with his left hand. Now, we all thought, even including myself, we all thought, since everyone was saying everything's going great, we all never think about what was actually going on. Because when I thought about Manny Pacquiao was just sparring with, or just training with his left hand, I don't know if he sparred just with his left hand, but when he was doing full training sessions, full 12-round training sessions, just with his left hand, you kind of think, okay, Freddie Roach just wants to really sharpen up that left hand, deadly left hand. That's going to be probably a very big deciding factor and a very big role in winning the fight against Mayweather, the straight left, Manny Pacquiao's backward punch. So that's probably why he's just telling Manny just to use that in a training session to sharpen it up. But that wasn't actually the case. It all adds up. The case was Manny Pacquiao just couldn't use the right hand. So it wasn't to sharpen up the left and just to focus on it to really... It was because Manny Pacquiao just couldn't use his right hand. So that adds up with the fact that Manny Pacquiao did actually have a shoulder injury. I just got a comment for someone saying one of Manny Pacquiao's sparring partners. I never confirmed it yet, but he's telling me, and I think I believe him, that he was told to keep quiet, and everyone was told to keep quiet about the shoulder injury. And he says the shoulder was really messed up, according to that UFC sparring partner of Manny Pacquiao. Says his shoulder did get messed up. And apparently, I think he got messed up. I think he had this injury before. It's a tear in his right shoulder. He got an MRI done weeks ago. It was a tear in the shoulder. And the doctor said it was going to take 30 to 40 days to heal completely. So it would heal up. Maybe he wouldn't be able to use it until the actual fight. But he did get this numbing agent or whatever. He got work done on the shoulder. So he could kind of use it lightly, I guess. But for 2 weeks straight, he couldn't use it at all, really. And so to say Manny Pacquiao is making an excuse, I don't think so. Because he didn't even really want to bring it up. People are just asking him. It got leaked out. People are asking him. He's going to tell it like it is. So, hold on one sec. But anyway, everything adds up with the story. He wasn't lying. And like I said, when you're in a big fight like this, you don't want to postpone it and you don't want to get out of it because we've been waiting 5 years. And if you postpone it, who knows what's going to happen, right? So Manny Pacquiao did not want to... he did not want to postpone the fight because he didn't want to let down the fans. They've been waiting for this for so long and he wanted to go through with it. And not only that... the shoulder, he said, was getting better as the fight came closer because he wasn't using it that much, and it was healing and getting better. But the fact why, because they were going to postpone it 3 weeks before the fight, they were actually going to postpone it, but then they didn't. Like I said, for the reasons I said, they've been waiting for this fight for so long, the fans. Manny Pacquiao didn't want to let them down. And the fact that the doctor said if he didn't use it, and let it heal up right until the fight, that it would be okay to use. And if you use that numbing agent, that painkiller in the shoulder, it would be okay and you could go through with it. And so that's why Pacquiao was 100% confident going through with it. He would have postponed it if he knew he couldn't use that numbing agent before the fight. All I gotta say is they filled out the paperwork. The commission, the commission didn't allow Manny Pacquiao to use it, even though they filled out the paperwork. It's on the papers, and they had it filled out 2 weeks before. And that just shows you Mayweather runs Las Vegas. He's above the commission, and it's been proved on several different occasions. Look at the Maidana fight with the gloves. Okay, yeah, these are MX Everlast gloves, stock pair that Maidana wants to use. Commission approves it, but Mayweather still says no, and there you go. Maidana can't wear them. So why is there a commission when Mayweather controls it all? And this is why it's in Las Vegas. This is why it didn't happen in Cowboys Stadium. And these aren't excuses. These are just facts. Mayweather doesn't want an even playing field, right? He says that, but he really doesn't want an even playing field. He wants all the advantages, even if it's cowardly. He wants all the advantages. The cowardly advantages, he wants those, right? So, like, if he wants you to fight with a broken leg or or messed up shoulder, and contributing to the fact, like I said, that Manny Pacquiao was just training with his left hand in sessions, that supports the fact that his shoulder did have problems. The fact that they were very quiet about sparring. The fact that this camp, like at the very start of the camp, I noticed before Manny Pacquiao came to Las Angeles wildcard gym. So he was training early in the Philippines because he was excited for the fight. Right when the fight was announced, he started training with Boo Boy, and he was doing the mitts with Boo Boy and others in the Philippines in the gym down there, and he was looking good on the mitts and hitting them. But then once he started his official training camp, the 8-week training camp. At the start, you seen clips of him hitting the bag in a bit, but very short clips. But never once did you see Manny Pacquiao. This is the first camp ever that I've never seen Manny Pacquiao hit the mitts with Roach full training videos. And you got to ask yourself, was it because Freddie Roach didn't want the strategy to be revealed, or was it because Manny Pacquiao just couldn't use his right hand and they didn't want that to be found out? And that's just my thing, that I believe that Manny Pacquiao, the reason why they didn't want anyone to see Manny Pacquiao do the mitts is because Manny Pacquiao had the shoulder injury. And how can you never see any training videos of Manny Pacquiao hitting the heavy bag or hitting the double end bag? Like I'm saying, there was videos at the start of the camp, but when the official camp started, as you went in the camp, you didn't see these videos. And when you did, it was only very, very short clips of him hitting the bag, not what you're usually seeing. All you see in this camp is Manny Pacquiao doing ab workouts and running. And when you look at that, when you look at the ab exercises and the running, he's not using his shoulder. It's low impact on the shoulder. So it all adds up why the shoulder was hurt, and it clearly was. If you look at the camp and everything was going on, it was leaked out, and Mayweather knew the shoulder was hurt. And know why he knew? Because he didn't want Manny Pacquiao to have the numbing agent. He knew that. He didn't, and that's why he told the commission, I don't want him using that. Manny Pacquiao wasn't allowed in his 20 years in boxing. This is the first time Manny Pacquiao wasn't allowed his own water in the dressing room before the fight. He wasn't allowed to take his own vitamins before the fight, or have the vitamins and his water in the dressing room. He wasn't allowed to take the vitamins or his own water. And in the actual fight, why was Mayweather grabbing and pulling Manny Pacquiao's arm, his right arm. If you look at it, watch the fight, he was pulling and holding Manny Pacquiao's arm. So he knew about the shoulder. And yeah, so, and I think when you look at the last conference and the weigh-in, Manny Pacquiao was acting overly, overly relaxed, you could say, and because he was hungry to fight and confident. That's what we thought, and he was too, because he thought he was getting the numbing agent, so he would have been at 100%. He wouldn't have had a problem if he had that. So Manny Pacquiao was only at 60% in the fight, and let me take a pause here. But, yeah, so Manny Pacquiao said he was only at 60% in the fight. After the third round, he couldn't even really throw his right hook with power anymore or the jab properly. And the punch stats contribute to the fact that his shoulder was injured. So everything adds up. He wasn't lying. He wasn't making excuses. The shoulder was genuinely messed up. The MRI showed it. And everything. The story adds up. It wasn't an excuse. It really was his shoulder. Because Manny Pacquiao's punch output dropped by 300. Not only that, his right hand output dropped the most. His jabs really dropped. He only landed like 10% of his jabs. 8% or 10% of his jabs. And only threw I forget how many he threw, but he threw very few punches. And that just shows you. So, what do you call it? All I gotta say is, yes, so Pac-Man wasn't at 100%, and you could tell though, obviously. He was only looking for that one big shot. When you look at it, he was only thinking about throwing the left hand, and when you think about only throwing that left hand in that knockout shot, that's how you look. You look like you're not pulling the trigger enough when you're just looking for that one shot, and that's what Manny Pacquiao looked like. But when Manny Pacquiao did get Floyd on the ropes, those shots were vicious at the very start of the fight. But like I said, it was at the very start of the fight before the shoulder started to really bug him. But anyway, I'll look at the interview in the description below. It will tell you all you need to know. And it's an interview with Pacquiao about everything what went on. How the shoulder injury leaked. Mayweather knew about it. Mayweather was probably the one that enforced the numbing agent to be used, even though he's allowed to use it in his hands, because he has fragile hands. He wasn't allowed his vitamins. He wasn't allowed the water. So, like everything. And then when you look at Fight Hype's video saying Manny Pacquiao's, it did get leaked out. The sparring wasn't good. You never heard anything about the sparring. The sparring partners got sent home 3 weeks before the fight because he couldn't spar anymore really with that shoulder. And I think he got that the shoulder injury happened when Manny Pacquiao and another fighter went for a right hook and they got tangled up or something. But it's a reoccurring injury. I think he's had this before. It's a tear. It's the same injury that Kobe Bryant had. It's about the same. Yeah, so just check out the video below, and yeah. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm trying to think if I got everything or not in this video. Let me know what you guys think anyway about what went on, the fight and everything. Disappointed, obviously, because the hype. I'm not disappointed not necessarily because my fighter lost. I'm disappointed about that and his performance. But I'm disappointed at the fight itself, because in knowing that there isn't going to be probably a rematch. I hope there is, but knowing it was a once-in-a-lifetime fight and one fighter was injured, and it kind of irritates me that the fight wasn't postponed. But again, Manny Pacquiao's reasons why it wasn't postponed was because he didn't want to disappoint the fans, and the shoulder was getting better as the fight came closer. But then again, after the third round, it got introduced again. The injury was, well, the injury was always there, but it really stirred a bug him. And, what do you call it? He thought he was going to be able to get that shot, and if he got that shot, then it would have been a different story. But, yeah, that's boxing, that's what happens, and, yeah. Anyway, I just hope there is a rematch. And, like I said, I hope there is a rematch. Give Mayweather even more percent. Give him 70-30, at least, because I really want a rematch. Because it's a shame that this happened. Because this definitely is not an excuse, because look at all the facts. Like I said, look at his training camp. Everything adds up that his shoulder wasn't right. And everything added up. Why was you only see him do ab and running workouts? Because Freddie Roach said he wanted to hide the strategy. That wasn't the case. It's because he couldn't use the right hand. You barely heard anything about sparring. So, yeah. Hopefully there's a rematch. And, yeah. Thanks for watching.